Mbote. Hi, I'm Rama, and I'm delighted to present this new series called the BUMUNTU, a course of great importance, a course which allowed our great ancestors to organize their lives, build civilizations, and live in community. The primordial ancestral path teaches us that living in community demands some work and some effort. That spirituality for us, and as taught in Kikongo language, is a transition. Saying that I practice spirituality, for instance, is almost an anomaly, because for us, spirituality is the use of the astral energies, and the astral is garbage. Spirituality. What is spirituality? For some time now, there is a mix-up. There's been a huge mix-up in understanding. We'll define ourselves as spiritual, as mystics. But actually, there is a mix-up, a serious one. First of all, one must understand that some things are not translatable. Some things cannot be translated from one culture to another. Some things need to be understood. Some things you've got to gel with them. Yeah, it's important. See, behind every word, there is a whole philosophy, a whole world. Behind every word, there is a vibration. You know, when we do things, when we do not understand what we're doing or saying, it is complicated. It's dangerous. Very, very dangerous. We cannot approach or do things without understanding what we're doing or what we're saying. We call ourselves Africans, for instance. We say we are Senegalese, we are Malians, we are Guineans, we are Congolese, we are Togolese, etc. But do we even understand what that means? Do we even have a mastery of our own languages, of our own dialects, in order to grasp the philosophy or the universe behind all those worlds? Many will say that spirituality means connecting with the Creator. Well, try and translate connecting with the Creator in your mother tongue. No matter which country you're from in Africa, you will see that you will hit a wall. Is there even a word to say Creator in your own mother tongue? What about a word that means spirituality? A lot of people define themselves as believers, for instance, today. Okay, well, tell me, how do you say believer in your own language? Come on. What about I'm a believer? Tell me, how do you say I'm a believer in your own mother tongue? Aha! Trust me, some things cannot be translated. Each culture has its own paradigm, its own world, its own medium of incarnation, its own vibration. The real question for you is, who are you trying to become in this great human family? One thing's for sure, the lion doesn't try to be a cat. The cat doesn't try to be a tiger either. Or else, even though they all belong to the feline family, big and small, no one tries to change or to leave that family, even to be a horse or a bird or a bee. There is a balance, you see. There is a natural order. Every being follows its own path, its own medium of incarnation, in harmony with the whole. So what about us, you think? Us melanoderms. people of dark colors? Do we even understand what our ancestors followed? Who were our ancestors? Do we even understand their medium of incarnation? The primordial path that was theirs? Do we even understand that? No doubt they had a different view and thought differently. Today, we've been people who've been enslaved. We've been whipped, we've been massacred, we've been killed, and we think that we can understand the world with the lenses of our ancestors. But, through the vision of things of those who dominated us. This is an anomaly. Take, for example, the concept of God. The word God does not come from our traditions. You have to understand how it is translated in your own languages. Well, you will see that this word God cannot be translated in our languages. So be careful not to combine things that do not make sense. For us melanoderms, everything that exists, even the stone in front of you, is sacred. For the one who believes in God, well, God lives in heaven. He asked men to rule on earth. But we are pieces of the elements on earth. So you have to understand this. There is a difference between one who thinks he or she controls the earth and thus dominates the elements, and the one who thinks, who understands, he is himself or herself an element. You see, it's not the same vision of things. It's not the same perception of things. This is why the ancients tells us, if you want to break free, just come back to our languages and stop using words that are not ours so that we do not get confused. So I ask you again, what does spirituality mean? The time has come for us to come back to our ancestors' way of thinking. What did the ancients here in Senegal, in Mali, in Congo, in Cameroon, all around the country, the continent I mean, think of the source? The ancients tells us, if you're lost, if you do not know where you're going, go back to where you come from. And there you will have answers. You will have solutions. So do your research. Go do your research. Read. Now, Google is here, even if it's not the reference of all time. But it's Google. It's here. And it can be practical in many cases. So start there. You have to start somewhere. Okay. So you're on Google. And you enter the word spirituality, which is a Western word, right? You'll see that it takes its roots from the Latin word spir, which means breath. When you look at its etymology, the word spir means that which is from the spirit. Therefore, spirituality is this practice which aims to communicate with the manifestation of an entity called spirit. And we know that spirit in the Western context means breath. Okay, well, what does that have to do with us? So breath, huh? The definition in the dictionary. Wow. Who can define spirituality according to an African point of view? In the meantime, many define spirituality as the practice of connecting with God. So God equal breath. Yep. Do you see how important it is for us to master our languages? Meanwhile, without understanding these foreign languages that dominated us, that colonized us, that enslaved us. We want to trace how we see things into theirs, their frame, their paradigm, their vision of things. You see, that is not possible. Conversely, try and translate a word like Ubuntu in French or in English or in Chinese, and you will find yourself interpreting and not translating because it is not possible. Yeah, certain things cannot be translated. This is why we should speak our languages. And let me be clear, speaking our languages does not mean speaking our languages through the Western view, because we can speak Wolof, Bambara, Lingala, Swahili, or else using the Western concept. But that is not Swahili, nor Lingala, nor Bambara or Wolof, since the paradigm behind is a Western language. Dear Zolapangi, dear brothers, dear sisters, we must go back to our languages so that we can speak English, but not speak in English. There is a huge difference. So yeah, we must go back to our languages. You know, take emotions for instance. We cannot translate emotions. Can you translate what is called an emotion? Think about it. The pleasure of eating an African dish like supu kanja or ndole. Can anyone translate the taste of supu kanja or ndole in your mouth? It's not possible. Some things we cannot translate because behind words there is an emotion, there is an energy. We must come back to our languages. There are things not translatable at all. This is why our renaissance, the awakening of the Muntu, the human being, will begin when we understand the power of words. For now, we have a serious challenge of understanding of things. All Muntus, human beings, in the world should learn in their language of incarnation. If you're Nigerian, learn Nigerian languages. The greatest power of all powers is in our languages. Yet, we want to use words outside of our context, our African context, to understand our own reality. Hell, it's not possible, and that is our handicap. Let's go back to our languages. I'm Rama, speaking to you from the land of our ancestors. Listen to the voice of Africa. Jere Jeff, thank you, and see you next time. Zola.